So let's get right into it. You started your career with drug-addicted teens and young adults, and now you work with individuals and families in all stages of addiction in the recovery spectrum. So let's start with Demi's story right now. She was first reported to have a heroin overdose, but law enforcement later confirmed that she was treated with Narcan. Can you fill us in on what Narcan is, and is that an effective way to treat overdose?
Absolutely. So Narcan is actually the brand name for a drug called naloxone. And that drug can be administered in two ways. It can be administered as a nasal spray as well as an injectable. And basically what it does is it goes into the brain and it binds more tightly to the receptors in the brain than the actual opiate drug does itself. So it goes in and kicks out the drug. It sends the person into essentially instant detox, and it can be incredibly effective at reversing overdose.
What kind of impact does that have on your body?
Well, I can tell you, because sadly I have witnessed this, people are pretty unhappy when they wake up from that overdose. They can be incredibly sick, they can vomit, they can be really angry that because it's painful, right, to go into an overdose like that, or into detox like that, but it saves lives. It absolutely saves lives.
Wow. Okay. Well, Demi has been public about her 6-year sobriety, and even with her recent relapse, how common is relapse, especially if you have had such a long period of time? We're talking 6 years.
Unfortunately, relapse is quite common. It's not unusual for people to make multiple attempts at treatment, and even after several years of sobriety, those risks and those temptations are still out there. People really have to work hard to safeguard themselves against those things, such as avoiding the risky lifestyle, such as attending 12-step meetings, doing self-care activities, staying in touch with treatment professionals, individual counseling, support, health groups, those kinds of things. I think I read an article that actually Demi Lovato herself made reference to what she called a mental relapse before even picking up the drug, meaning that she kind of knew that she was sliding toward that before she ever even went back to it.
She has a history of depression and anxiety.
Yeah. So what triggers relapse? Is there any exact science to it?
That's a good question. I mean, drug addiction is an incredibly powerful thing in the brain. And even when you've been away from it for a long period of time, those temptations can still exist. Like I said, being in risky environments, just not doing what you need to do to take care of yourself, manage the stressors of everyday life. I mean, Demi Lovato is an example of somebody who's rich and famous and has every resource available to her.
Yeah.
And so whether you're in her position or whether you're just an everyday person facing the daily stressors, you have to be careful to safeguard that sobriety, even over time.
What do people need to know at home, family and friends, loved ones dealing with this? Because you look at your loved one and it's almost like you want to shake them. You want to wake them up. I can only imagine it being the most frustrating thing.
And there's a frustration if you don't understand it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So true, so true. There's a couple of things I'd like to say about that. One is that there's actually been a huge push by lawmakers and community organizations to get that Narcan, that naloxone, into the hands of family members, friends, and heroin users themselves, not just EMTs and ER doctors, because those seconds count. And so if you have Narcan available to you and you know how to use it, that's going to make a huge difference in terms of the time that it takes to get to that ER or to get to that hospital. So that's one thing that's crucially important. There's an organization that I think does wonderful work that I'd like to talk about, and they are called liveforlali.org. That's LIVE, number 4, LALI.org. They have lots of programs available. They do the training to get that Narcan available to you. They can get you in contact with treatment resources. They can connect you with other family members, friends, people who can mentor you, especially if you've gone through the loss of a loved one. They're really an excellent organization.
All right, well, there you go. For more information, everybody, on Joanna or additional resources, you can check out her website, integrativepsychchicago.com, integrativepsychchicago.com. You can find her offices there in Roscoe Village on the north side, as well as in Rolling Meadows in the northwest burbs. And again, it was Live for Lali. Live, the number 4, LALI. .org, excuse me, .org, and that's important to know, everybody. Joanna, thank you very much. Such a timely thing, a very serious one. It's something to continue to monitor because it affects everybody in some capacity in their lives. Great stuff. Really
Thank you so much for having me here.